Today on Neville Knows, we're going to do brake discs and brake pads.
Neville knows, Neville knows, Neville knows. Oh, what Neville knows, then you will know, because you don't know what Neville knows. Neville knows what you don't know, and so you will know what Neville knows. When what Neville knows, then you will know, because you don't know what Neville knows. Neville knows what you don't know, and so you will know what Neville knows.
A lot of people complain about brake pads and they say when they're driving down the road, they've got this continuous squeal. What can they do? Can they grease it? Can they spray it? Can they? No. What you're hearing actually, this is a brake pad. A lot of new cars have little indicators built into the brake pad, which comes on the dash light and gives you a flickering every time it makes contact with the disc. It gives you a brake warning that you must replace your brake pads. The older cars have this little metal clip. And you can see, if you look at the depth, it will wear down till it touches there, and this will give you that scraping sound on the brake disc. So when you're applying brakes, that is a new pad on the disc. You can see the gap there is quite significant. But as it wears, this will start scraping on here, and you're going to get that. It's almost like a reminder. Have a look at your brake pads and see what the story is if it needs replacing. Some discs, as is this one, is a solid disc, and on the side, it gives you your minimum and your maximum thickness of the brake disc. Once you go past that, the disc is going to have to be replaced. Ventilated brake discs are for more high-performance vehicles. As you see, this one is a solid, and this is now the ventilated disc. What this is, high-performance vehicle, you need to keep your brakes cooler, and the air flows between these ventilators, and they actually keep the brake disc cool. The downside of ventilated disc, if it's by design, if you have a performance car, you should actually just replace the disc when it gets worn, because the material that you've got on either side is obviously not as much as what you would have on a solid disc. Now what we've noticed, a lot of people also moan about when they're braking, they have this terrible squeal. You have sliding pins which hold the caliper system in place, and there are two pins that keep this whole thing together. Those two pins, if they're dusty or if they're dry, all you've got to do is take those pins out, give them a light wipe with sandpaper, clean them up nicely, then take a little, and I mean a little bit, of mechanics blue or a little bit of copper slip and just smear. Don't place too much, because specifically the area on the rotor gets so hot, and what happens, anything that's on there will melt. The last thing you want is whatever you put on the sliding pins melting and getting onto the surface of your brake pad, because once that starts smearing and you come up to your stop street and you put on brakes and it does that, and you have some sort of a grease between your pad surface and your disc, you're not going to stop. We suggest when you've done your brakes and you replaced hopefully the disc and the brake pads, that for 250 to 300 Ks, be gentle on the brakes. Give them time to bed in. Although both surfaces are brand new, they just need to mate and make sure that they happy with each other. The other thing on brake pads that we've noticed, if guys do their brake pads, you've got to remember that when you're doing towing or you have a caravan behind you, your stopping distance gets quite long. Now with the weight behind you, that force has been placed and the load being transferred to your 60-40, your stopping distance is going to be a lot longer. So you've got to allow yourself that extra space. And that's about it for brake discs and brake pads. Till next time, Neville knows.
Neville knows, Neville knows, Neville knows. Oh, what Neville knows, then you will know, because you don't know what Neville knows. Neville knows what you don't know, and so you will know what Neville knows. When what Neville knows, then you will know, because you don't know what Neville knows. Neville knows what you don't know, and so you will know what Neville knows.